Aprilia have been drip feeding us information on the new RSV4 and RSV4 Factory, but now they've given us technical details of what the actual changes are, so let's check them out. Visually, the biggest change to the new RSV4 is to the fairing, so let's start there. They've used a lot of their tech from MotoGP and the RS660 to help design the new fairing. The result is lower aerodynamic resistance and more wind protection for the rider. The rider receives 11% less air than the prior model, and most of that is taken away from the shoulders and head. The built-in winglets increase stability at high speed, stop the bike from wanting to wheelie so much out of corners, help with stability while braking, cool the engine, and direct hot air away from the rider. Some of my eagle-eyed viewers also spotted that the front wheel is now exposed on the upcoming model. And they were bang on. Aprilia have done this as it assists the bike when changing direction. So when you want to change direction, it's going to make it a bit easier. They took this directly from their MotoGP bike. Okay, onto the riding position, and this is where I think the biggest changes have been made. The seat is now 9mm lower, and the foot pegs are 10mm lower. In addition, the fuel tank is new and provides better support for your arms and has an improved resting position for your legs. Aprilia are really trying to make the bike more comfortable and not as cramped. It's always been one of the more compact leader bikes, so I've got no complaints with this. They're trying to take weight off your arms and promote a healthy riding position. Before anyone complains about the foot pegs possibly being too low, the ground clearance is also up 1.5 inches. The most controversial topic on the new RSV4 has been this swing arm, and if you haven't noticed, it's a completely new design. Gone is the old banana style that they've used for years. Inspired by MotoGP, it essentially looks like it's, well, upside down. They didn't do this just to piss everyone off though. The new swing arm is 600 grams lighter and only has 3 welding points compared to the previous 7. The transversal rigidity has been increased by 30% and the wheel pin adjustment slot is also longer. So I just used a fair bit of technical jargon, so I'll put it in the layman terms to everyone. The new swing arm is going to increase mechanical grip, and since it's unsprung weight, it should make the bike feel lighter too. And with more grip, that's the less the bike has to rely on electronics. The longer adjustment slot gives you more range for where you want the rear wheel. The Aprilia Racing department requested this be done. The RSV4 has fully adjustable sack suspension for both the front and rear. The Factory has Öhlins semi-active suspension that's had some pretty cool changes. There are a total of 6 suspension modes. The first 3 are auto modes. A1 is for slicks and smooth tarmac. A2 is for compound tyres at tracks with rougher tarmac. And A3 is for the street. The other 3 modes are manual modes that don't use the semi-active suspension. So basically they act like standard suspension. All of the modes are able to be customized. What is very tricky is the modes also change depending on what engine mapping you're using. That is some awesome technology. Speaking of the engine, as we already knew, the bike is now 1099 cc's. The bore remains at 81mm, but the stroke is now 53.3mm. The crankshaft is new and the upper crankcase has been adjusted. The torque has gone up to 125 Nm and the peak power is 217 horsepower. I'd be extremely interested to see how many horses this puts out when it's uncorked. It had to be near enough 230 at the crank. The RSV4 also has a new ECU that is 4 times faster than the previous and is able to deal with the more complex algorithms that are being used now. On the hot topic of ABS, both models come with cornering ABS from Bosch that work in conjunction with the riding modes. Speaking of riding modes, there are 6. 3 are road modes, street for daily riding, sport for getting a little silly on the road, and user, which is fully customizable. The other 3 are riding modes for the track, race, track 1 and track 2. With the last 2 modes, you can fully customize them for specific tracks. The screen is a 5-inch TFT dash and I think it looks pretty great. If you haven't noticed, I've had the new photos and video from Aprilia running. The bike looks a lot better in these shots than the previous ones. I think it's a great looking bike and I'd love to have one in the garage. What do you think of the changes that have been made? Now we've got some better shots. Do you like the look of it? I know a lot of people didn't like the colouring and the style of the new fairing, so I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. Okay, that's it from me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've had a ton more new viewers lately, but no one's hitting the subscribe button, so if you haven't, make sure you do it. Alright, happy riding everyone, and keep it on the back wheel.